Ladies and gents, welcome to UX, and this is Good Things Evil Dictators Did. This was just simple history. Yeah, this is an interesting video because this is the world has come to now. Apparently, we're going to talk about good things that evil people did. Because in internet days with so many subreddits in Reddits, it's like people can have conversation about anything. So one of the conversation obviously is going to be like, wait a minute, I know all the fucked up things these dictators did, but what about the good things? Did Stalin did anything good? I don't know. When it comes to Hitler, I guess Volkswagen, Beetle. What else can I don't know. This video is going to be interesting. I can see how simple history thought. Wait a minute, this is a good topic. This will pique people's interest. So let's do this one.
Good deeds by evil dictators. Whether it's murder, pillage, unspeakable acts of violence, or horrendous war crimes, dictators give you plenty of reasons to emphasize that first syllable. But believe it or not, they weren't all bad all the time, just 99% of it. In between eradicating entire ethnic groups, they sometimes had to pause and think about the most effective way to maintain an iron grip on their population. And bizarrely, that often led to some small silver linings. So, while these dictators may not have set out to accomplish a good deed, some of their actions were a force for positive change. Sometimes, even evil needs some good PR. Hitler's Animal Solution. Adolf Hitler, he was a lot of things. A fantastic speaker, intelligent propagandist, genocidal maniac, harbinger of warfare and death, extremely passionate about blonde hair and blue eyes. Yeah, the list goes on. But beneath the anti-Semitism, extreme nationalism, and desire to remove anyone who wasn't his ideal version of Germanic purity was a deep love that many might not have thought such a man to be capable of. A love between man and dog. It's fairly well known Hitler was a vegetarian who had a four-legged furry friend by his side his whole life. But what's lesser known is that his love extended beyond dogs to encompass all animals. Indeed, while Hitler was busy murdering his way across Eastern Europe, he was also...
I mean, that makes sense. That doesn't feel that far off, I guess. If you're going to do genocidal things and like divide people and see people in that lens, you need a place to like concentrate your undivided, I guess, love in this, or like, not love, compassion or whatever. So if humanity is not that, it's going to be animals, right? That kind of tracks. He was a vegetarian, like... I think I know that, but it's like one of those things that I forgot or don't think about. It surprises me every time I hear it. Yeah, Hitler was vegetarian apparently, sure. Why? Why was this the case? Like, but he couldn't digest something because he was Austrian, German, whatever. Like, being non-vegetarian is not that far off thing. Like, why was he vegetarian?
So ensuring the welfare and protection of animals with a series of animal rights acts that extended across his tenure as Nazi leader. Almost immediately after becoming chancellor in 1933, Hitler and the Nazi Party introduced Reich animal protection laws. The laws made euthanasia mandatory for animals with no quality of life, banned animal experimentation except in specific select circumstances, and created a strict set of laws regulating animal slaughter, among other protections. Hermann Goering declared on radio that the mistreatment of animals will be subject to internment in a concentration camp. But these measures weren't entirely altruistic. Some historians argue that while framed as protecting animal welfare, they also functioned as a direct attack on Jewish traditions. Kosher slaughter was indirectly prohibited as Jews were forced to follow the new German protocols. Over the next 10 years or so, the Nazis put a vast array of animal regulations in place, including documents about hunting, conservation, and domesticated pets.
Alright, I get it, but imagine that shit. Experimentation on animals are not allowed, but you can do that with humans in concentration camps. Like, fucking, how did I forget his name? Like that asshole Nazi scientist. I guess you can call him scientist. I don't know. Who did experiments on like everyone, kids, doesn't matter who, in concentration camp. I guess that's fine, right? Like this is like basically implying that they saw. Like in the priority list, they saw all those people in the concentration camps less than animals. That's insane.
Everything from wolves down to lobsters were given better protection than Jewish people in Nazi Germany. And it wasn't just Hitler who cared about animal welfare. Many leading Nazis were animal lovers. Goebbels, Hess, Haas, and Dönitz all adored and owned dogs, while Hermann Göring's estate was prowled and protected by his very own pack of lions. All in all, when it came to Nazi Germany, maybe being an animal was a better option. Illiteracy in Iraq. Saddam Hussein was a dictator, unflinching in his use of chemical weaponry, violation of human rights, and inflaming ethnic hatred within Iraq. Across his regime, Hussein was responsible for countless atrocities, mass murders, and unspeakable acts of brutal violence. But despite...
Just to make this clear, this smile wasn't for all the shit he was talking about. It was about literacy. He's gonna increase literacy amongst his people. That's his goal. He's an education guy. I mean, come on.
His sordid legacy, in 1979, he still managed to earn a UNESCO Krupskaya Award for his work improving literacy rates in Iraq. As any good dictator will tell you, an essential component of control is indoctrination, and one of the best places to begin indoctrination is through education. So, the first step was to create an Iraqi literacy campaign and open mandatory literacy schools for anyone between the ages of 15 and 45 deemed illiterate. Part of this campaign, though, also included harsh punishments for those not attending or found to be lying about their literacy levels. Refusal to attend could result in a $30 fine and 1 week in jail, whereas outright lying about your ability to read and write resulted in a $90 fine and a whole month in jail. Literacy in Saddam Hussein's Iraq was a threat, not an opportunity. With the population educated under his thumb, Hussein used the schools to erase the history of marginalized communities that he sought to remove from Iraqi society, glorify himself through exalted indoctrination into the cult of the leader, and demonize America, all while generally keeping a tight watch on both the minds and actions of Iraqi citizens. But while Saddam Hussein may have created educational reforms for all the wrong reasons, they did have positive outcomes that rippled across Iraqi society. Between 1977 and 1987, male literacy rates increased to 87%, and female literacy increased massively, with only 25% recognized as illiterate in 1987, compared to 62% just 10 years earlier. In conclusion, if you were in Iraq in the 80s...
Yeah, at least he did that good. Even his fucked up goals of like propaganda, indoctrination, whatever you want to call it, is there a documented evidence like he was doing that, or did he just like, okay, get educated? I can't run a society if everyone's a moron. Maybe it was his goal like that. But is there a documented case that he was like actually like indoctrinating people? I don't know. He must have, I don't know. Like dictatorship, like it's easier if he does that. But at least he did that good, right? Like he didn't go, oh, okay, women, why do they need to study type of bullshit? No, he actually made sure the women are also like literate, and actually increase the literacy. Education is probably the core issue of everything, right? Illiteracy is literally the reason behind most problems. All right, I'm not saying literate people will solve everything. They will create their own other problems. But at least like the core economical problems and everything, poverty and everything, like, and the way people think, the way ideologies form, the way people can be like molded and like make into sheep, all this shit can trace back to illiteracy. If people can think for themselves, like, yeah, so being educated is like really crucial. So at least there's that positive.
You'd most likely learn to read and write, just mostly about how great Saddam Hussein was. Genghis Khan's Intelligence Society. Known for both strategic brilliance and ruthlessness, Genghis Khan created the largest empire in human history. He spent a good portion of the 12th century first uniting warring Asian tribes under Mongol rule before branching out to Eastern Europe, successfully extending his control as far as modern-day Hungary. However, Genghis Khan's rise to power was the result of extraordinary brutality. Entire cities were annihilated, and survivors were often massacred or enslaved to serve as a grim warning to those who resisted Mongol domination. Estimates suggest his campaigns resulted in the deaths of an estimated 40 million, in some cases wiping out almost entire populations. But despite that, he was a man you could go so far as to call a tactical genius.
Okay, there have been many dictators that are fucked up. There are many dictators who did genocides and like killed millions of people. But in the end of the day, Genghis Khan is like, when you see the numbers whole other level, he like wiped out a lot of population in his time. If you kill that many people without thinking, like, are you even a human at that point, right? Because other dictators have certain ideologies, certain things, this and here. Yeah, they kill a lot of people, but in like certain targeted places. This guy just like conquered and like wiped out places like humans don't even matter. It's just like, like getting, like how you like get the dust out of your house, like clean your house type of shit. Is that even human at that point? I know people say like, okay, you shouldn't judge with a modern standard. Are you going to say that about even this one? What are we talking about? Like, who before Genghis Khan did at that level shit? I mean, come on, let's talk about that. Who before Genghis Khan did that? So, okay, was he like a, like a conqueror? Sure, right? Was he a military genius? Sure, but come on, even amongst the dictators and amongst the people who like killed a lot of people, he's like whole another level.
Amidst the rampaging, pillaging, and total seizure of control, Genghis Khan achieved what no other dictator had: standardization. As unexciting as that might sound, the reality is Genghis Khan and his successors put into place many large infrastructural standards that impacted trade and commerce worldwide for centuries to come. And although his children may have
Business, man, business. Yeah, his Silk Road and every fucking thing, right? He basically, if you show all that to any American, they would lose their mind, right? They would just basically wet their pant at that. Yeah, so business at whole other level at that time. That is some insane shit. All the Silk Road, all the business he was doing, right? Yeah, I don't think at his time or even before him, anyone even come close to that, right? And I know people say like because of conquering, even without the conquering, just like look at how he like made sure like things move smoothly, business happens smoothly. That's whole other level.
been Nepo babies, Khan placed a great deal of emphasis on rewarding work and action over merely basing hierarchy on lineage alone. Under the Mongolian Empire rule, the Silk Road thrived. Khan developed a system of shares called the kubi that increased trade and the sharing of exotic materials. Merchant societal station was elevated, and an era of economic prosperity was ushered in. That's not all. The Mongols built roads and bridges, developed irrigation, and improved agricultural processes. They promoted freedom of religion and heavily influenced cultural development, meaning intellectuals from across the world came to live and work in the Mongol Empire. Putting aside that the Mongols were brutal and devastating to those they opposed, Genghis Khan was a dictator who made a lot of positive changes that had a ripple effect over the coming centuries. With new links between the East and West, universal taxation, and a shared currency, the world's economy was all the stronger for his influence.
He had an MBA.
Learning
apparently.
to read with Stalin. Soviet Russia was not known for being a warm and fuzzy place. A cold, harsh, and unforgiving socialist state still reeling from the Russian Revolution, and a place where food, money, and tempers often ran short. The population was starving, morale was low, and the future looked bleak. Enter Joseph Stalin. Taking control after Lenin died in 1924, Stalin did not overall make Soviet Russia a better place. Instead, he blockaded and left those suffering from the Great Famine to die or turn to cannibalism, was responsible for the elimination of an entire social class, and fatally removed any political opponents who had any chance of overthrowing him. And that was all before World War II even got started. But among this and countless other atrocities, Stalin did have one good goal: making literacy a national standard. At the turn of the century, only 28.4% of Russians aged over 9 could read or write, not helpful for a republic looking to strengthen its control over its citizens. Among other reasons, improving literacy was an effective means of indoctrinating and controlling Soviet citizens. The educational overhaul worked.
So same thing like Saddam. It makes sense when you think about it, because if you live in free world, you don't see people as resources and a thing in your end goal. Those are people. That is your job. That is the point of freedom and democracy. Let people live. So at that point, like, you want to spread awareness, but you don't really like gonna force people to be literate. In dictatorship like that, when you have an end goal, when you envision your country to be superior than anyone else, or like have even ideas of conquering others, you want your resources, which is people as well, for if you're a dictator, to be in best condition. Literacy. If they can read, if they can think, they are a great resource. Otherwise, they're just like basically like, I don't know, cannon fodder or something. So it just tracks in that way.
Tremendously well. Stalin's tight grip regulated the curriculum, introduced subjects like communist ideology, and glorified both socialism and Stalin's supposed role in the Russian Revolution, crafting a narrative that fit into Stalin's cult of personality methodology. His methods may have been purely selfish, but they were certainly effective. There was a temporary 100% rate of literacy among Red Army soldiers in 1929, who Stalin believed needed to be educated in order to be politically engaged, in the correct fashion, of course. In 1939, 82% of young girls were literate, as were 94% of young boys. By the end of Stalin's rule, the population was well read enough that it could pick up any text and learn all the ways Stalin was.
Yeah, but did that helpful? Yeah, other things I can think of is like a Hitler thing about like, I don't know, like, I don't think I can say Volkswagen, like I said in the start, like they already had portion, like it's not really revolution, but what I want to say is Autobahn. Hitler did Autobahn, which is basically what interstate system is in USA, right? That's where the idea comes from. That's how I think Eisenhower went to Germany and saw that, like, no, I want that, and there you go, interstate system. It's a pretty crucial thing if you want to like have a strength, you know, if you want to strengthen your borders, strengthen your own country geographically in every way, because interstate system or like autobahns basically connects all places, all states, all borders. So you can move tanks, you can move resources if you're under attack or if you're attacking someone. Yeah, so basically he did World War II, he attacked Poland, and he needed Autobahn for that. So his reasoning was different. Military-wise, his reasoning was the same, like I said. But what I was saying was mostly for defend reason. His reasoning was attack reason, but regardless of that, Autobahn was pretty interesting, and because of that interstate system, and like every country now is kind of adopting that, right? Trying to make sure every places can join together by a big ass road with certain rules, certain regulation, like a plane can land on it, so no no things that would restrict it, like billboards and things have to be like far apart so a plane can land it, a military plane, shit like that. Right, well, that was good things evil dictators did by some simple history. If you like my channel, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.